black as they move from the light. Am I even real, even real? Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in the light. Who am I? Time is eating me. My feet glued to the floor, I'm not moving anywhere. Locked inside of a crowd that couldn't care less. Everything was moving so fast. Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in the light. Who am I? Time is eating me. Time moves on and on. Can I stomach it? Can I stomach it? Where did I go wrong? My fear builds an appetite, but time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in the light. Who am I? Time is eating me. I remember the moment I got left behind. Faces fade to black as they move from the light. Am I even real, even real? Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in the light. Who am I? Time is eating me. My feet glued to the floor, I'm not moving anywhere. Locked inside of a crowd that couldn't care less. Everything was moving so fast. Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in the light. Who am I? Time is eating me.
Hello, hello, travelers. Welcome in. It is a fine Thursday night. Hopefully you guys are all doing really well. I'm doing pretty okay today. It was a bit hectic at work, but sometimes days just be like that. We are here today with Tales with Time, and of course we are still reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, but we are very close to the ending. Like we're a little more than halfway through, and I think we'll get I think maybe like two more readings before we'll finish it. So, but yes. So make sure you guys get all cozy in your beds or wherever you're at, or if you're playing games, get in your games and just tune in. And then also make sure to grab your drinks. Speaking of drinks, my drink today is water. But yes, I'm very excited to get on to the reading today. Not really, like I said before, it was a hectic day at work. Honestly, I don't know what was happening, but so many kids were just out of it. Hi, Pocket. Might want to raise the volume just a little bit. Oh, for me? Oh, I wonder why it's quiet. Hold on. Pause. Let me let me adjust. It's probably because I'm not close to the mic. Let me scoot a little closer. Let me just get uncomfortably close. Hopefully that's a bit better. I'm not sure if it is or not, but we'll see. I think I'm also just kind of talking quieter because my throat literally started hurting like a little bit ago, and I'm hoping I could just read through this and then it'll just be fine. you know? But right, my rules for Tales with Time. Of course, I say them at the beginning of every I say them at the beginning of every Tales with Time stream. No spoilers, please. Number one being no spoilers. You may know what happens in the book. That's great. That's awesome. Some people don't spoil it in the chat for them. Like you can be like, "Oh, I know what's going to happen next," but don't say what happens next. It sounds like I'm slightly muffled. Really? I wonder why. Hold on, let me. Well, now I have to hear myself. Hold on. Hold on. Test audio. Hello? Oh, I do sound really muffled. I wonder why. Hold on. I wonder. Hold on, you're gonna hear me banging my mic around for a minute. Um. Maybe if I. Is this better? I'm not sure if this is better. I'm not quite sure why it's being like that. That's weird. That I'm muffled. Hmm. That's really weird, actually. Why is it like that? Hold up. Did I hit something over here? Maybe? Well, now I gotta look at this. Hold on, give me a minute. Now I'm gonna mess around with my little soundboard thing because it's being. We also, by the way, I'm gonna speak really close to my mic because maybe that'll help. But we also had a power outage everywhere today, um, so that may have messed with some stuff. Hi, Lemus. We are currently having a little bit of scuff. I don't know if this is good or not. I don't know. How's the audio sound? Is it better? I'm trying to adjust some stuff. Is it better? Does it sound better? It looks like. Oh, see, hold on. Hold on, I'm looking at it. So just the usual pocket stream, yes, thank you. Oh, is this better? I'm not sure. Is this better? Does this sound better? Hello? Hello? Test, test, test. Does that sound better? I'm not sure if that sounds better or not, but I sure hope so. I don't know why it's not picking it up quite well. That's kind of strange. It's probably because of the freaking power outage we had. That was so annoying. Oh my gosh. Literally so annoying. Hold on, let me see here. Okay, I'm hoping that's better. It seems like it's better. At least on my end, but I'm not quite sure. So just let me know if I still need to adjust it. Also, I hope it's not like super laggy or anything, because I also see sounds like you have a sock on my mic. What? Hold on. Hold up. I just have my like little cover thing. I'm putting it back on. Hold on. Heat. There we go. I don't know why it sounds like that. That's so weird. Maybe is it this one? This maybe? I don't know. What's happening? Why is all my shit not working? Maybe it's because I don't have this open. Let me try opening this. Don't worry. We're gonna get through the scuff. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. I sound so why? Why do I sound really quiet? Is this better? Like at all? Yeah, because I noticed that my mic is not like as loud as it was before, so I'm confused why it's doing this. Let me. I sound perfectly fine to you? I'm so muffled. Huh. No, I didn't have it running in the outage. Like I was literally laying in bed when it happened, so I don't know why the mic is not working then. Hold on. What if I go like this? Is that better? No, what the fuck? Oh my gosh. That's so annoying. Why? Hello? Oh, it sounds fine-ish. Well, actually, when I'm not close to the mic, it sounds really quiet. But if I'm really close to it, then it works just fine. Hold on, I'm gonna like mess with it just a little bit and see if maybe that helps. Nope. No, see, I have it on the highest setting to hear me. So I'm not quite sure. Oh, it's loud when I actually just talk directly into the mic. Like it sounds fine then. Oh, that's so weird. Bitch, work. Oh, I can still hear myself. What the fuck? Okay. Let me try maybe this one? How's this work? Is this good? Is this good? Is it working again? Hopefully. Hopefully it's better like this. Did I fix it? Is it good? It's either all or nothing? So I didn't fix it? What the fuck? It looks like I fixed it on my end. Like it looks louder, like I'm speaking louder. It's not as muffled anymore. Oh, it sounds good now? Are we good now, guys? Are we good? Is it fine now? I'm moving it around a little bit. I think it's because usually when I'm streaming, I have the voice mod open, which is like the voice changer thing. And so I think that picks up my mic a little bit better. Here, I turned it down just a smidgen. So it wasn't like horrendous for you guys. There we go. Is that better? Better? Just a bit loud. Okay. There you go. I turned it down just a tiny bit. So I think the problem is I didn't have my voice mod open. That's probably the problem. It's probably the problem. But yes, I literally, now that just threw me all off. Now I like literally forgot what I was saying. I'm just vibing. I think I was talking about my day. Oh, it's a crazy day at work. The kids were definitely on something today. I don't know. But yeah. Did I say the drink that I was having today is water. I'm having water today. Oh, and I was going over the rules. Jesus Christ. I'm literally all over the place today. How are you able to contribute? Skelly won't let me contribute anymore. Like, it was like, you hit your max contributions. Like, excuse me, bitch, why can't I contribute to my own stream? I want to do the Lego building stream, too. Let me see if I can do it. Well, let me do it. No, it says max contributions reached. What an asshole. Anyway, right, I was going over the... Let me focus. Let me focus real quick. I was going over the rules. So, I did the no spoilers. You may know what happens in the story. Other people don't, and they want to hear the story, so please don't spoil it for them. It's because it hates you. It definitely does. It definitely does. To be respectful, you may have, oh, thank you, Cheshire. You may have different opinions, on the story and some of the characters that you guys might not agree on. That's completely fine. Just be respectful when you're sharing your opinions and talking about them to other people, right? Legos, yes, my Lego stream, yes. Yes. I'm very excited for that. It only lets you do it once per stream. Well, I haven't done it yet. It won't let me do it anymore. Like, it won't let me do it. But anyway, number 3, keep it cozy. Reactions are welcome, but please do not spam or do off-topic chatter during the readings. Pocket, I hope you're better with Legos than games. I'm gonna be so honestly, miss. Legos are very hard for me. I'm not even kidding. Legos are very hard for me because the biggest thing about Legos is that you have to follow instructions. And we plan on reading this, so I gotta dip, but I hope y'all have fun. Oh, yes, you definitely should, Cheshire. It's a very good book. Very good series. I love it, honestly. It's the best. But, yes, have a good one, Cheshire. I had to dip in to keep my streak alive. That's fair. But right, keeping it cozy. You are more than welcome to react to things that are happening in the story. I just will not be able to read them until the end of each chapter. So, at least you admit it. How we all know you suck at following instructions. That's fair. Yeah, that's true. Having said the keep it cozy part, rule number 4, save long thoughts for pauses. So you can share your bigger comments, and stuff like throughout when I'm reading, and then but I just won't be able to read them until after each chapter. And then I usually try to leave a bit of time to speak your thoughts on what happened at the end of the chapter and at the end of the chapter and all that. So, but yes, those are my usual rules. And of course, my daily reminder, I am not a professional, reader. I read a lot, yes, but I don't read out loud a lot. So if you would like to hear, the professional reading of this, I definitely recommend checking out the audiobook or just getting the book itself and reading it yourself because it is fantastic. It is amazing. It makes me laugh every time I read it, and it's very serious. It's not just...
456 says I'm a big scary dragon rah or fear me I got Legos.
Okay, Lemus. But anyway... Fuck you, dude. I'm a big scary dragon. War. Well, now I literally forgot what I was going to say. Yes, I will make a lot of mistakes reading. I always do. You can literally go back and watch any of these VODs and you will realize, wow, this bitch cannot read out loud because there's words I can't say. Sometimes I speak different languages in the books and I don't know how to speak those languages, but I try my best anyway, you know? But yes, I believe the last time we did it, also we're in chapter 31. The last time we read, what did they do? Oh, they defeated the, the pig ball. And then they went onto a live TV show, where they were talking to this, chick who was cut in half. And then she uses prosthetic crab bodies. And she's a reporter and they do interviews with crawlers and stuff. And she's also, yes. And they saw boobies. They saw very big boobies. And Princess Donut, of course, rocked it because she's just a star. And they also learned that the booby lady was also Mordecai's instructor or his guild. No, instructor. It was instructor. But yes, it was very... Or no. Was it the other way around? Was Mordecai her instructor? No, I think it was... Was it the other way around? No, I can't remember. No, I love Donut. Donut is just the best. We love Donut here. But yes, we're in chapter 31, so we're back. They made it to the second floor, or the second level of the dungeon, and now they're bringing all the old folks down and all that. Crab, you say yes. Oh my god, I've been craving seafood boil so much lately. Like, also, I've also been craving, like, chicken fried steak. Like, horrendously craving it. Like, I just want it so bad. Anyway, I've been literally yapping and trying to fix my scuff for like 20 minutes now. So we are going to go ahead and get into this because I want to try and get as far as we can into this before the time is up for stream. So, we are in chapter 31. Let me open up my booksies here. Oh, I just knocked into my mic. Oops, sorry, people. But right. Chapter 31. Oh, this one doesn't have a picture this time. Usually some of the chapters have pictures next to them. Let me take a sip of my drink. I'm just, like, hitting everything today. I just slammed my cup into my freaking monitor. We're just thriving today, guys. All right. Here we go. Chapter 31. Brandon and crew were still bringing people into the safe room as the next episode premiered. Right when the show started, the timer finally ran out. The world rumbled, and the ground under my feet shook. The shaking lasted but a second. I stopped and gazed at the number on the television screen. It flashed, going from just over 2 million to 1,292,526. More people had made it down onto the next level than I expected. Still, those numbers. Those goddamn numbers. I wish we didn't have to look at them. In that brief moment, as I helped push a woman, her name was Elle McGibbons, in a wheelchair into the storm shelter, over 700,000 people died. A third of the remaining crawlers. The first floor had claimed a little more than 10 million people. "Thank you, honey," the woman said as I rolled her to the others. "Can you put Divorce Court on the television? My Barry used to watch that show. It reminds me of him." I don't think that show is on anymore, Miss McGibbons," I said. "That's okay," she said. Above the numbers with the remaining crawlers, the countdown to level collapse blinked a few times, then reset. 6 days and counting. 6 days? Brandon said, coming to stand beside me. Mistress Tiatha had said it would be 10. "Yeah, our guy said the same thing," I said. "At least we know where the stairs are this time." As the scenes of carnage played out on the television, they were showing a man and a woman running from a 3-headed baboon, I took stock of the room. We'd only gained 6 more residents from the Waffle House safe room, meaning 24 of them had elected to stay behind. I thought about that for a moment. Good for them, I decided. They'd gained a measure of control in those last few moments. They went out on their own terms. Brandon said they'd all been singing when he'd last seen them. Agatha remained missing. Chris sat in the corner, his head low. He might have been crying. I wanted to give the man space. Amani and Yolanda worked their way around the residence. Yolanda helped them to the bathrooms while Amani handed out crawler biscuits. Donut paced the floor in front of the television screen, waiting for the second half of the program. We wouldn't be able to watch Odette's show, and we still didn't know if we'd get any airtime on the main program. "After everyone sleeps, I was hoping to get your help with something," Brandon said. I already knew what he was going to ask. "You're going to send them all down the stairs to the 3rd floor early." "Yes," he said. "They can't train, so there's no point in keeping them here." "What about you?" I asked. "Your levels need work." He shook his head. "We talked about it. All of us are going to go down. We'll take our chances on the 3rd floor. We don't want to risk getting separated." On the screen, a woman screamed as her arm was bitten off by a monster that looked like an eggplant with teeth. "We'll scout the way and clear it out for you," I said. "Thank you," Brandon said. "Did you get anything good in your boss box?" I asked. He now had a bright silver star next to his name in the interface, along with the rest of us. He grinned. "I got a magic boomerang. Chris got some book of the club thing. Amani doesn't tell us what she gets, and Yolanda received a new type of quiver." "There's something I've been wanting to ask you about Agatha," I said. "Everyone, quiet, quiet!" Donut called. It's time for the good part. The screen focused on that group of men from Africa. Their party name was Le Mouvement. They'd gone from 150 to about 80 after some internal strife. Several of the members sported skulls by their avatars now. The show had helpfully added a graphic showing how much ammunition they had left. The 80 men were down to under 500 rounds. Hopefully, they were training themselves in other weapon types. Lucia Marr and her dogs obliterated a nest of brown, shaggy monsters before descending the stairs. I knew right afterward she'd been whisked away to appear on a Dutch show. She'd been on stage just before us, where one of her dogs had attacked the producer. The woman with the Valkyrie helmet had teamed up with a group of 3 more women. They worked together to kill a Yeti burrow boss thing before using the stairs to descend. And just like that, there we were. Beside me, Donut gasped as we appeared. We were on screen for less than 15 seconds. The program was playing scenes from multiple groups of crawlers, rapid fire, all of them fighting bosses or running toward the stairs as the timer ran down. I knew some of these scenes must have played out just 30 minutes earlier. It showed us huddled underneath the redoubt as Donut screamed, "Here it comes." The view changed to the ball swine rolling up the ramp, getting stuck. I moved back inside our miniature fort as the brace broke and smashed Yolanda in the head. It showed the ball break apart, and then it cut to Donut screaming as she fired magic missiles point blank into the Tusklings. It ended with Amani making a sour face as she dropped the strap-on dildo on the floor. All of our mugshots appeared. A moment later, the show moved on to another group. "They didn't put Agatha's picture on the screen," Yolanda said. "Does that mean she's dead?" "I think that's exactly what it means," I said, my voice grim. There was no way the crazy old woman would survive down here on her own. Nobody had said it out loud yet, but we were all thinking it. "Wait," Chris said. Brandon's brother had a deeper voice, and it surprised me when he spoke. This was only the second time I'd heard him speak. "There's more to it. She was edited out of the scene. She was next to me, under the speed bump, but she wasn't there when they showed it." "Oh yeah," Brandon said. "Weird." "What does that mean?" Yolanda asked. "Who the hell knows?" I said. Donut was ignoring all of this as she hopped up and down. 2 shows in one day, Carl. 2 shows! Maybe there's more too. Do you think we're on more shows? I sighed. "Donut, you need to stop obsessing over this. It's dangerous. It's going to get us killed." "I'm not obsessing," she said. "What makes you think I've been obsessing?" People like you because of what you've been doing," I said. "If you start playing for the camera, they're going to like you less. And if you die, you won't be remembered at all. So try not to think about it." "I don't know what you're talking about, Carl," she said. The show wrapped up, and a moment later, the announcement rattled through the storm shelter. "Hello, crawlers. Welcome to the 2nd floor. Congratulations to all of you. We have just under 1.3 million crawlers still in the game. That number is slightly lower than our projections, so we're speeding up the 2nd floor timer to the minimum legally allowed by the rules. You have 6 days to find a staircase down. Once again, we urge you all to wait until the last possible moment to descend. As soon as this announcement ends, you will find that follows and favorites will be turned on for our viewers. The numbers will populate slowly on your interface, so don't be too disappointed if you don't see anything just yet. We have improved how patronage works this season. This is a major change, so please pay attention. All crawlers are now limited to 3 patrons, and all 3 spots will be up for auction for 1 day immediately upon the induction of the 4th floor, then 5th, then 6th floors, respectively. Your benefactors may so choose to transfer their patronage to other parties at their own discretion, starting on the 7th floor. All patronage spots will become available at a bid of 1 credit, meaning this season virtually all living crawlers will have patrons. But be warned, any bids the patron pays above the standard patronage fee will be reflected in loot box discounts for that patron. Any funds below the fee will be reflected in additional costs to that patron for loot boxes. In other words, the more your patron pays for you, the more and higher quality benefactor boxes you may receive. The higher your social numbers, the better your chances at receiving the best loot. Your tutorial guild should have more details and will help you if you have any additional questions. Finally, we must say we are disappointed in the disrespect we are being shown regarding the bathrooms. As of this moment, if any human-born crawler intentionally urinates or defecates anywhere outside a designated bathroom area, they will be immediately and swiftly penalized in the form of a rage elemental plucked from the 13th floor. This elemental will kill them and everyone in their party before they can get their pants back up. That's it for tonight. Have fun out there and remember to kill, kill, kill. Brandon turned to Yolanda. You better tell Jack not to pee in the hallways anymore. Yolanda had gone pale. I hadn't even realized that this was a problem. Jack was one of the guys who used a walker, not a wheelchair. He wore a Cincinnati Bengals hat and was always poking at the female residents, saying, "You still alive, Mary Beth?" None of them were named Mary Beth. I have a few adult pads left. I'll make sure he puts one on, Yolanda said. Their reasoning for speeding it up doesn't make any sense, Amani said. I nodded, agreeing. If anything, it seems like they're trying to get rid of us faster. Carl, I have a follower, my first follower, Donut cried. Another, a view, I have a view. Yeah, I said. You know that viewer is watching you right now, so maybe you should stop acting crazy. We talked about this. Donut stiffened, her eyes going wide. You're right, she said. She sat down and licked her paw, suddenly looking nonchalant. That was quite the battle today, don't you think, Carl? She said this in a weird, stilted, I'm trying to act casual, but I'm not very good at it voice. I sighed, and it took everything not to say my catchphrase out loud. She's going to get used to it. It's new, so you gotta give her time. After Dutch show finished airing, I knew those numbers were going to skyrocket. This was going to be a long night. And that was the end of chapter 31, the first chapter of the night. It was just some basic, like, they got down to the second floor, talked about plans, like, moving forward and all that, what they were gonna do. And they just got some updates on, like, I guess more so for us, like, what followers are and, like, what they can do for the crawlers and all that stuff. So, fun little learning chapter there. But I love, I'm here, I guess. Hi, Lux. Welcome in. Welcome in. I love that Donut is just so obsessed with, like, attention. Ew, not the duck. Ew, not a Lux. Yes, Miss, yes. Because when they fought the Tusklings, it was just a big sex ball. And so... Well, it was a BDSM ball, I should say. And they had, like, all the female pigs were dominatrixes. You need a model with glasses for story time. I can put glasses on this model, but it would look really weird. Well, your mom, I win, GG. What the? I felt like I just stroked reading that, Lex. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my gosh. I need like a reading model or something. You know, I was thinking I would do like a little, maybe like PNG tuber for this. So that way, like, I could just do it. Cause like the VTube Studio one, it's like a lot of the times, like if I have my book too close up to my face, the tracking stops because it blocks the camera. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a PNG tuber, for reading times, you know, we'll see. We'll play around with it. But yeah, Donut wants all the attention. Literally she does. That's why I love Donut. She's an attention whore. And I can feel that. I feel that, honestly. I'm just kidding. All right, we're going to move on to chapter 32. This one does have a little picture. It looks like a really greasy goblin. You need a monocle for this model. I do. I should have a monocle, honestly. I really should. All right. Let me take one more sip of water. I'm starting to feel myself get really, like, phlegmy. And I'm like, please, just let me finish the stream without, like, coughing every now and then. All right. Here we go. Chapter 32. Time to collapse. 5 days, 10 hours. Views, 69 billion. Followers, 635 million. Favorites, 149 million. As we approached the quadrant with the stairwell, we could now see that there was a tutorial guide and another safe room just beyond the stairs. The plan was to probe the monsters, see how difficult they were. And that's the plan was to probe. The plan was to probe the monsters and see how difficult they were. I'm surprised by how much sexual content happens with this, but oh, listen, Scully. You don't even know yet, my dude. You don't even know yet, brother. Anyway. If it was something we could handle, we'd clear them out. Once we found the boss room, we'd make a judgment call on how to proceed. After that, we'd escort Team Meadowlark into the stairwell. We'd gone to sleep and woken up with our social numbers in the stratosphere. Donut's views and followers were about equal with my own, but her favorites were twice as high. It made sense. Mordecai had said people only got a limited number of favorites to use, and Donut was the more entertaining member of our duo. I was okay with that. I tried not to think about it. We had important work to do today. Even Donut, thankfully, began to pay attention to the task at hand as we saw the first few red dots appear on our map. She'd been saying some motivational bullshit about seizing the day and fighting for the honor of our elders, but I think even she realized she was being annoying. A couple followers had ticked away, and you'd have thought that someone had stabbed her in the face with the way she'd reacted. The dots were just off the main... what the fuck? The dots were just off the main thoroughfare. The main arteries on this floor weren't as wide as they'd been one floor up, and the ground was less even. Within the actual quadrants, we had to watch our step. The concrete floor was cracked and splintered. Little sharp rocks were everywhere. I kicked a rock away. Below, my shiny toes glittered. I tried to get Donut to show me how to use the pedicure kit, and she laughed at me. It was Amani, of all people, who'd sat down with me. The stoic nurse pulled the tools out one at a time, matter-of-factly explaining how they worked. The buffs all activated after about 15 minutes of work. I didn't need to use all the items. I just had to make a show of it. But now my feet glittered, and while the sensation wasn't any different than it had been before, I could sense the unbreakable aspect of my foot bones. I knew if I dropped a boulder on my toes, they wouldn't splinter. It'd still hurt, but they'd remain intact and unscarred, and as pretty as ever for this psychotic AI. I peered around the room at the monsters. There were 3 of them sitting in a wide room lit by torches. They sat in a circle, playing dice. They were small troll-like humanoids with oversized heads. Each had a hooked nose, ruddy cheeks, and a mouth with only a few teeth. They wore tattered green overalls covered in patches. Each had pilgrim-style buckled shoes, much too small for me. If it wasn't for their mottled skin and curly black hair, I'd think they were a type of goblin. All 3 of them had runny noses. They coughed and sneezed and snorted and rubbed their sleeves with their arms as they played their game. All 3 of them had slingshots on their laps. Ranged weapons. I didn't like ranged weapons. Unvaccinated Clurchon Rev-Up Consultant, Level 3. If you hear banjo music, run. Clurchons are distant hillbilly relatives of the leprechauns. And while the leprechauns are said to guard vast piles of gold, the only thing Clurchons, I hope I'm saying that right, might hoard are Polaroids of their own sisters sitting on the can in questionable business schemes. The particular sect is of the unvaccinated variety. Don't let them sneeze on you. Warning: this is a fairy class mob. Mobs of this class inflict 20% damage against you, more damage against you to your goblin pass. Due to your goblin pass. Jesus, I can't fucking talk today. I eased back around the corner. Man, I really wish we could figure out a way to turn their dots white. Then we could use your charm skill. Do they have wings? My butterfly collar charm causes winged fairies to like me. I don't think they do, I said. Maybe if we capture one, we can talk to it, Donut said. I'd say that's a good idea, I said, but not with these guys. We need to kill them from a distance. They're toxic. I'm pretty sure they inflict something like your sepsis debuff on us. Let's try hitting them with 3 magic missiles. Super quick. Do a 4 power for each one, and see what happens. If they don't go down, hit them again. Donut nodded and jumped to my shoulder. Ready, she said. All business. We popped around the corner. Thwop, thwop, thwop. Donut struck each one with a headshot. They didn't even know what hit them. They died where they sat. How many mana points do you have left? 14, Donut said. Do you want to try your new second chance spell? It costs 10, right? I didn't have to ask her twice. Donut's whole body glowed a neon purple. A moment later, one of the Clurchons twitched. It glowed purple, matching Donut's hue. It stumbled to its feet and just stood there, its scorched and blown-in head listing to the side. A moan emanated from its wet, snotty mouth. On my shoulder, Donut shuddered. A 1-minute timer hovered over the undead creature. A clear liquid oozed out of the hole in its head. It moaned again, this time louder. Undead minion of Crawler Princess Donut. Unvaccinated Chlorochon consultant. Level 1. It continued to sway, not moving from that spot. This is most unpleasant, Donut said. She made a sound like she was going to retch. I do not like this, Carl. I wonder if they'll always be level 1, I said, fascinated. Can you control it? I don't know, Donut said hesitantly. I don't have any sort of controls. She made a kind of uncomfortable whimpering noise, something I've never heard from her before. You, she said, calling to the zombie. It didn't seem to react. Rip up the dead bodies of your friends. It swayed there for another moment. The countdown was down to 25 seconds. Then it went to its knees and started taking apart one of his companions. It reached into the stomach and just yanked a line of intestines out like a magician pulling streamers from a hat. They just kept coming and coming. The zombie groaned with an almost... the zombie groaned with an almost sexual pleasure. I'm too immature. I'm too immature to read that. I felt a twinge of sickness gurgle in my own stomach. Yeah, that's really gross. Oh, did it glitch? No. Is it paused? Whoa! Are we good? Is everything good now? Was it just like the picture? Because I know my model's being real wonky right now. It might just be my model. We'll see. I'll give it a minute. Think we're good? Or is it still pretty glitched? Hold on. Hold on, let me see. Let me test it out. Hold on. Oh no. Let me see. Uh-oh. Oh, it's definitely... Oh, it's because my frame rate's going up. Let me click on this. Alright, are we good? Hopefully. Uh-oh. I think it's okay. Or is it still glitched? I can see that my frame rates are kind of, not high, but like, they're getting... Did that work? Hopefully. That'd be really sad if I had to end the stream early because my internet just said fuck you. I want to get further. We're almost there. I'll try that again. I'm like a minute behind, I think. You might be, yeah. I think yours is a little bit delayed. Okay, well, I'm going to continue reading because I think it's fine on my end now. Hopefully. So I'm going to continue reading. Okay, I think it's good now. Okay. All right, we're good. Thanks for pointing that out, Skelly, because I literally did not notice that. I would have just kept going. All right, let's see. Where did I leave off? Oh. The zombie groaned with an almost sexual pleasure. I felt a twinge of sickness gurgle in my own stomach. Yeah, that's really gross, I said. The zombie clattered over, dead once again a few short seconds later. It had left its job unfinished. I know, fuck my Wi-Fi, for real, honestly. Especially after the power outage, it's just not been great. Welcome, I'll probably pass out soon, but I'm glad I helped. Thank you, Skelly, thank you. I eyed the remains dubiously. I knew we needed to destroy the corpses, but there were only so many ways the game could warn me that these guys were toxic. I didn't even know if getting close enough to loot them was a good idea. Before I could protest, Donut jumped down and looted them anyway. As a quadruped, she could pull the loose non-slotted items like the slingshots and the dice into our own inventory without actually touching them, as long as they weren't too heavy or too far away. I had to physically pick them up, which meant getting close to the contaminated bodies. Each of them has a clay jug of something called toilet-grade moonshine, Donut said. They're like the llamas, I said. They probably sell the stuff to the other mobs. We decided to forgo destroying the corpses for now. We'd angle back on our way out and kill any grubs skulking around the area. I contemplated just blowing the bodies up, but that seemed like a waste of perfectly good explosives. I could probably concoct something that would burn them. I had gallons and gallons of flammable liquid. Their moonshine would probably work too, but it would take some thinking and trial and error. I really need to get my hands on something like a Polyex I could use to chop things up from afar. Did they have any slingshot ammo on there? I asked as we crept deeper into the hallway. Yeah, they have little bags of rocks, Donut said. Give me one of the slingshots in a couple bags. I want to try it out. It took me about 3 seconds to realize I wasn't going to be a deadly wielder of the slingshot anytime soon, but I was going to practice. I needed some sort of ranged weapon, one a bit more subtle than my usual stick of dynamite. As a kid, I'd had a slingshot, and I'd been pretty good with it. I used to set toy cars up on the edge of the fence and try to hit them. The memory suddenly turned sour. I remember my dad finding, I remembered my dad finding my slingshot. He and his friends had played with it, breaking the band. He'd promised he'd get me a new one. He never did. For the next hour, we cleared out all of the Cluricons along the outer ring of the quadrant. And by we, I meant Donut. So far, all we found were the level 3 version. After each skirmish, Donut would raise one of them from the dead, and I would practice hitting them with a slingshot. The weapon did hardly any damage at all, though I was getting good at consistently hitting the monsters in the head. My slingshot skill eventually rose to 3, but it didn't want to budge past that. Donut's skill in the second chance spell also rose to level 3. The zombies weren't any more powerful, but the monsters now hung around for 3 minutes instead of 1. Donut looked something unusual. Oh, hi! Welcome in! Donut looted something unusual from one of the bodies. A pamphlet entitled Rev Up. Make money, be your own boss, move to the next floor down. It didn't appear to be magical. It was just a regular trifold pamphlet. Let me see it, I said. The colorful front showed a group of 3 laughing female Cluricons holding jugs of the moonshine. Several little phrases covered the pamphlet, written in Syndicate Standard. Things like, you're the boss now, and your own hours, and it's not a pyramid, and safe. Inside the pamphlet was a wall of text of mostly gibberish about the benefits of becoming a Rev-Up moonshine consultant. On the right was a picture of a pyramid with the "It's not a pyramid" written all over it. The bottom of the brochure stated, see Crocaren or one of her downline consultants and learn how you can rev up your life today. On the back page, it read, coming soon, Rev Up Smoothies, portable, delicious, invigorating. The entire line was crossed out with discontinued written under it. Do you think we can become consultants? Donut asked after she spent an inordinate amount of time reading the pamphlet. It says as business owners we gain power over ourselves and can seize our own destinies. That doesn't mean anything, I said. They're just making fun of pyramid schemes. You remember when Bee wanted to start selling those leggings? It's like that. The closet in Donut's trophy room had been filled with boxes of the things. Donut had gotten into one of those boxes and peed in it. I smiled, remembering Bee had raged at the poor cat. It's not a pyramid, though. It says so right here. Come on, I said. These things are hostile toward us, so it wouldn't work anyway. I think these pamphlets are for other mobs on this floor, not crawlers. Besides, we can just kill them and take it all for ourselves. Donut put the pamphlet away. Yeah, that does seem easier. We won't have to pay our upline or make the initial seed investment when we do it that way. As we finished our circle of the outer ring of the quadrant, I was forced to kill one of the Cluricons with a punch to the head. Donut missed a shot, and the little monster came running right at me, impossibly fast. It didn't bother with its slingshot, opting to grapple. It gurgled, sounding pug-like, clawing at me with little pocked hands. I formed a fist, but it happened too fast. My gauntlet took 2 seconds to form, which was a long time when one was having to react. My first bare-knuckle hit stunned it. I hit it a second I hit it a second time, this time with the gauntlet, and the monster went flying. His head caved in. When I opened my hand, my fingers were covered with a lime green oily residue. Warning, you've been infected with the taint. Fuck. A blinking 5-minute timer appeared. In a panic, I pulled up my health screen to see what that was. The taint. Having the taint is like having the giggles, or like having the time of your life. But instead of it being good, you are balancing on the precipice of death. You may not heal your health using any method while you are inflicted with the taint. Receiving the debuff scared the ever-loving crap out of me. I could deal with poison and several other attacks thanks to my armor, but we had no protection against this type of assault. Our heal spells, potions, and scrolls didn't help. We needed something to ward off stuff like this. In those 5 seconds, before I could read the description, I was genuinely scared I had received something that was going to kill me. On its own, the debuff wasn't a big deal. I simply had to wait it out. I suspected it was part of a 1-2 punch. They first inflicted you with the taint, then they hit you with something else that seeped your health away. If that was the case, it didn't matter if these guys were only level 3. They were dangerous. We're not fucking around with these guys anymore, I said. Let me think a minute. We'd collected 25 jugs of moonshine. Donut gave me one, and I examined the large clay container. Rev up toilet-grade moonshine. Type accelerate. Effect, highly flammable liquid. Explosive fumes. Status, will not activate until introduced to flame. At 180 proof, this moonshine will take the hair off your chest and then put it back on. The rev-up version is distilled using 2 types of sugars. The slime trails left behind by the passage of the brindle grub, and a secretive proprietary source, created exclusively on the dungeon's 2nd floor by the Rev-Up company. Oh my god, I'm dying. Jugs of this concoction are highly sought after by the drinking establishments that populate the 3rd, 6th, 9th, 12th, 15th, and 18th floors. Drinking a swig, defined as 1.5 ounces, of this potion will immediately cause you to gain the shit-faced debuff. Shit-faced debuff. Has a 50% chance to render you blind for a period of 30 hours. A 5% chance to immediately kill you, and a 45% chance to permanently raise a random stat by 2 points. It does say they're valuable, Donut said. Do you think we can really sell them if we don't become consultants? That's what it sounds like, I said. Other than that tiara of yours, this is the first time you've really seen anything that clues us in about the deeper floors. Donut indicated the tattoo of the dagger on my neck. The Desperado Club, she said. Maybe it'll be on the next floor. I bet they'll buy them all from us because we're members of the club. We'll be rich. Maybe, I said. We'll see if we have any jugs left when we're done. What do you mean? Donut asked. What are we going to do with them? I grinned. I don't suppose you have any extra torches. Carl's Juggle Boom. Incendiary Tossable. Effect, when lit and tossed, results in a small explosion, followed by burning splash damage over a wide area. Flames will burn over 15 seconds per level of attacker's level of incendiary device handling. Status, inert until torch is activated. Created by an unstable, pantsless man who talks to a cat. Carl's Juggle Boom takes bigger is better approach when it comes to a hobgoblin fire bottles. Burns hotter, bigger, and faster than your normal Molotov cocktail. The use of a standard torch instead of a cloth wick makes these devices much more stable. Just don't drop it once it's lit, lest you find yourself doing a Joan of Arc impersonation. I received a host of achievements after I finished the bottle. I read the description again and sighed. Carl, look, they named it after you. Yeah, Donut, I see that, I said. Do you think everybody will see it like that? I don't know. I hope not, I said. My incendiary device handling skill had jumped up to 5 immediately upon the construction of the device, and all I had done was open up the jug, poured a splash or 2 out until it was about 3/4 full, added a couple ounces of goblin oil from my inventory, and then stuck a torch in the hole. The short, tapered torch fit perfectly into the mouth of the jug, scaling it like a cork. It was almost like it had been made for it. We tested one just to see if it would actually work. The clay moonshine jugs seemed pretty solid, and I was afraid they wouldn't break. The bottles had a rev-up written on the side of them. The cool thing about torches was that I could just look at them and mentally select activate, and then they would start burning. No lighter required. I lit the torch, grasped the jug by the little round handle, and tossed it high in the air, arching it toward a group of 3-headed Clurchins. Whoosh! The jug shattered easily. The explosion itself was insignificant, but the angry flames splashed like water over a wide area, crackling and hissing angrily, glowing blue. We had to step back. Wow, Donut cried, hopping up and down. Would you look at that? The flames reached the ceiling, and we had to step farther out of the room due to the heat. When it finally died out a minute and 15 seconds later, all that remained in the room were blackened, crumbly husks of bodies and ash. Well, that's pretty damn cool, I said. We sat down and made 10 more of the devices. After the 5, the room smelled oddly of whiskey and toast. Most of the jugs were already about 3/4 full, which was good. I didn't have to waste any of the moonshine. Out of curiosity, I examined the jugs in my inventory and compared their value to my other explosive devices. The jugs were pretty high on the list, just above the smoke bombs. The full, unaltered jugs of moonshine were more valuable, however. In fact, they were near the top of the list, just above the engineer's table I still had, the only intact table I had left after our construction of the redoubt. These things were much less dangerous, to me at least, than the sticks of goblin dynamite. But they were a little too good. We lost the ability to loot the corpses when they burned away, meaning we lost our ability to get more jugs. We moved toward the staircase. We decided to incinerate every other room, which would keep our jug supply stable. We continued our pattern of Donut raising the dead and me practicing with the slingshot, which slowed our progress but gave us some much-needed training. My slingshot skill remained constant. However, I received a few other skills, including aiming and steady hand. Donut's skill in second chance ticked up to level 4. We finally came across a new type of mob just outside of the boss room, which was thankfully separate from the stairwell. This room was big and, like the goblin workshop, filled with dozens of little assholes. There wasn't any sort of giant machinery, but a tube ran along the ceiling from the far boss chamber to the center of the room, curving down into what looked like a filthy aluminum bathtub. There were piles of the bottles, both empty and full in the room. The snot-covered level 3s were taking the jugs and tipping them into the tub to fill them up. At the far end of the room was a doorway guarded by a pair of small floating creatures. They weren't Clurchins, but small, fat fairies who buzzed about with a pair of hummingbird wings. They looked like miniature winged soccer moms. I peered around the corner and examined their properties. Lomanac, Rev Up Consultant Elite, level 6. The second tier of the Rev Up Empire. These Lomanac consultants don't need to speak to a manager. They are the managers. They run their business with brutal efficiency. It is said if one of their underlings falls behind on their sales quotas, they punish them by requiring them to take a sip of their own product. Those that survive are repurposed as workers for the filling room, or worse, still engineers, working directly under Crocaren herself. These mobs do not have any special abilities other than immunity to most health-seeping attacks. Having survived years drinking their own products, it is said their essence is especially valuable, prized as a shield against disease. Whoa, there we go. My model is glitching for a minute. In a dusty corner of the room stood what appeared to be a pair of child-sized stationary bikes. The kind gyms used for their spinning classes. There was some sort of goblin-style pulley system attached to it, but I couldn't tell what was going on from here. A banner hung from the ceiling in the same corner, but it was only attached by one end, and it dangled vertically forgotten. The banner read, "Rev Up Smoothies, invigorating." Okay, I said, we need to kill everyone in the room, but if we want to keep those jugs and that moonshine, we can't blow them up or burn them out. Plus, it sounds like we can get something good from the corpses of the Lomanac things. Goodness me, Donut said. How can we do that? We peeked again around the corner, keeping low. Do you think you can jump over there? I asked, pointing at the far wall with the 2 fairies. Using your spell, I mean. Oh, yes, definitely. I nodded. Good. Here's the plan. And that was the end of chapter 32. Oh my god, we're getting close to the ending. We've got I don't remember how many chapters it is now. I think this book has 47 chapters plus the epilogue, so 48. And then there's a special chapter called, well, I won't say the special chapter's name actually yet, but there's a special chapter at the very end that they include, I think, at the end of every one of his books so far. But chapter 32, so they found fairy-type creatures. I say we're close to the end, but we're on chapter 33, and there's 48 chapters, so we're still quite a bit away. We're at least like what? I can't do mental math right now. 15 chapters away, I think. I think it's 15 chapters. I'm getting like so phlegmy. Dang, the sickness. Alright. I'm gonna move on to the next chapter though. Actually, how long is this chapter? I'm very curious. I think this one was a shorter one because... Yeah, okay, this one was a shorter one. The main character also still doesn't have pants. No, he doesn't have pants or shoes, but he does have toe rings on. And his feet are manicured now, so they're shiny. Shiny toes. It's one of my favorite things. It's like his whole shtick, you know? He just doesn't have pants. Alright. Chapter 33. The two biggest problems with Donut's puddle jumper spell were the cooldown and the mana cost. One cast, she couldn't do it again for 5 hours, which meant once she was in that room, she couldn't teleport out. Secondly, it cost 20 mana points. She only had 26 mana, and while she had plenty of mana restoration potions, she still had that awful 2-minute cooldown between potions. Her points were restoring themselves more and more quickly, but it was still too slow to count on it for combat. She was going to be woefully underpowered, so if something went wrong, and something always went wrong, the only thing she had going for herself was her speed. We decided I would stay behind during this part of the assault. With my extra fairy aggro, we weren't certain what would happen if we both showed ourselves. The plan was simple, but it made me nervous, mostly because I didn't have any control. This was my idea, but the cat was doing all the heavy lifting. If you get in trouble, I'll toss a smoke bomb, I said. Just jump and run, okay? Donut nodded. She was putting on a brave face, but I could tell she was also anxious. Okay, let's do this, she said. We moved back to the corner, peering around the edge. Donut cast her spell, which had a 10-second countdown. She flashed, her form starting to fade until she disappeared with a loud, wet pop. She reappeared at the far end of the room, right between the two Lamanok fairies. She started rapidly speaking with them as all the Chlorochins in the room jumped to their feet and turned to attack. The Stalker Mom fairies were winged, therefore Donut had the ability to turn their dots white, removing their hostility. The problem was that only 2 of them were the airborne type fairies. The other 40 or so were not. We were hoping Donut could talk to the 2 fairies, using her charm like she did with the goblins. The fairies would then tell their subordinates not to attack Donut. From my side of the room, I could see that the 2 fairies had thankfully fallen under Donut's charm. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but like the goblins, they'd been churned right away. One of the fairies yelled at the Chlorochins, speaking in Syndicate Standard. Get back to work, she called. This is a client, not an enemy. The dozens of monsters looked at each other and reluctantly returned to their stations, but all of them kept their eyes on Donut, all grumbling and looking uneasy. Donut. Carl, their dots aren't turning white. Only the 2 fairies. Okay, we planned for this. Don't wait. Go for Plan B. It is called Plan Pied Piper, not Plan B. God damn it, Donut, just be careful. Despite her charisma being an outstanding 43, we still didn't know how well this whole charm thing worked. It was clear she wasn't some sort of walking mind control goddess, at least not with monsters that were programmed to dislike her. As with everything else, there was more to it, a hidden balance I couldn't see. It worked great with white dots, but getting the dots white was still a mystery. But that was okay. We prepared for this contingency. Instead of talking them into giving us all the moonshine, we had Plan B, Plan Pied Piper. Donut confidently stepped into the room, walking in my direction. She kept a wide distance from the toxic Chlorochins, but she headed toward me. The 2 fairies followed. Sparkles trailed in the air as they bopped up and down. It's just horrible, Donut was saying. It's like someone came in and slaughtered them all. I, for one, was devastated. At first I thought it was one of those filthy crawlers, but then I saw one of those dogs with the painted faces. The dingoes. The kobolds? One of the fairies said, sounding perplexed. Why would the kobolds attack us? We get along fine with the kobolds. Come see, Donut said. She looked about the room. All of you should come. They need to stay and work, the fairy said. The pudgy fairy swept her hair out of her eyes. Both of them were an inverted bob haircut. The one doing the speaking wore what looked like a pantsuit made out of leaves. The other was in a dress made of the same materials. Donut stopped and looked directly at the fairy. No, they should come too. All of them. Everybody come on. We're taking a break, the fairy said. A what? One of the clergymen asked. Just come. The princess wants to show us something. I pulled away from the corner and rushed down to the next chamber. In the center were 3 dead clergymen. We hadn't firebombed this room, though one of them had been zombified. I moved into the next hall down, just outside of the room. Like with most of these rooms, the entranceway was a small room of its own, like a foyer with a raised, rounded ceiling. A pair of brindle grubs was in the hall farther down, inching their way toward the corpses. Jesus, I thought, these things were everywhere. I rushed over and stomped them both down and returned to the foyer. I waited for Donut to Pied Piper the group into the chamber. Carl, Donut, I'm in place. Donut, we are coming. Look at this. Just look, Donut was saying a minute later as she strode into the room. She gave the dead monsters a wide berth, walking into the chamber. Come, everybody gather around. Take a look. I could hear them crowding into the room as I leaned against the wall, hidden behind the entrance to the next hallway down. I pulled 2 boom jugs from my inventory and held one in each hand. This was not a dingo attack, one of the fairies was saying. One of them has been hit with the necromancy's magic. No, come, look at this, Caroline, Donut said. It's in the hallway over there. Tell your workers to stay here. It'll be good for them to look at what happens to those who don't, work hard or something. Okay, the fairy said. She started shouting orders at the crowd of grumbling clergymen. A moment later, Donut and the 2 fairies floated into the dark foyer, moving past me. Donut stopped just as the 2 fairies noticed me standing there. What's this? The pantsuit fairy said, floating away with surprise. She was smaller than I realized, no bigger than a crow. The Lamanok looked just like a miniature 40-something woman. She carried no weapons. Carl, I'd like you to meet Caroline and Max. It's okay, ladies. Carl needs to show you something. They were looking down at the pair of jugs in my hands. Where did you get this? The other fairies asked. And what did you do to our product? I grinned. Let me show you. I mentally clicked activate on both of the torches, stepped to the side to the room's entrance, and I tossed both jugs in at the group of 40 monsters stupidly staring back at us. The hands of the pantsuit fairy started glowing red just as Donut leaped into the air and snagged the Lamanok like she was catching a bird. The cat's crupper jingled and poofed out like a skirt as she fell. Donut clasped the fairy between 2 claws as she chomped down. She took her head, breaking the fairy's neck. The second fairy zipped up to the ceiling of the entrance hall, lightning fast, out of reach, screaming as I swiped at her, trying to catch her in the air. Damn it. I wanted to kill them without hurting their fragile little bodies. Not fair, the fairy screamed. The air crackled with her passage. She sounded desperate, on the verge of tears. Not fair! We were going to move down to the 3rd floor! Her hands also glowed red, and she fired a magic missile right at me. It hit me square in the chest, and I flew backwards, slamming onto my back, sliding a few feet into the room with a raging inferno. A note flashed. Warning. Damage enhanced. It felt as if I'd been kicked by a damn horse. My vision flashed red, this time a health warning. I felt broken bones in my chest, just as the searing heat threatened to catch my hair on fire. I clicked a healing potion as I scrambled to my feet. My chest crackled as it mended itself. I pulled myself back into the hall, out of the raging heat, the breath still knocked out of me. The plan B at least, had gone off without a hitch until now. The fairy remained up on the ceiling, screaming down at Donut, shooting magic missiles down at the cat, who was doing a much better job at dodging them. After a moment, the fairy seemed to run out of mana. She continued to scream down at us. She was trapped as long as Donut and I each guarded one of the doors to the foyer. You can jump that high, can't you? I muttered. Probably, Donut said out of breath. Or I can hit her with magic missile. I have much better aim than she does. I can hit her with a 3 power, and it probably won't hurt her body too much. She's level 6 after all. Missile her if she runs, I said, pulling the slingshot out of my inventory. It took 10 shots before I hit her. The rock caught her in the wing, and she dropped a few feet before recovering. Her health barely went down. She's a quick little fucker. She kept screaming for someone named Damien to come and help. Damien never came. She's going to regenerate her mana before you get her, Donut said. Hurry up or I'm going to do it. I aimed and fired, trying to anticipate where she was going to be. The rock clipped her wing again, and she cried out in pain, dropping again. Donut leaped into the air and caught her before she could recover. They hit the ground with a crunch. Honestly, Carl, Donut said, spitting the dead fairy onto the ground next to the other one. Must I do all the work? I'm training, I said. I indicated the room behind me, where I had received experience for killing 40 monsters all at once. Besides, I just hit level 11. Me too, actually, Donut said. The slingshot skill remained at 3, but my aiming skill went up to 4. Both of the fairies dropped 25 gold pieces, and each had 5 brochures in their inventory. The description said their essence was valuable, but the only thing that remained was their bodies. Laminuk Rev Up Consultant Corpse alchemy material. Damn it, I said. I'd been hoping they would just drop potions, something to protect us against the taint disease. Donut didn't want the corpse in her inventory, so I took them both. When I pulled them in, their bodies disappeared, but their clothes and wings remained on the ground. I took those too. We didn't get a good potion, but that was still pretty awesome, Donut said as we headed back toward the filling room. My first solo mission. I bet I'd be fine crawling this dungeon all by myself. I nodded. Still, I couldn't help but feel like an asshole. The feeling wasn't as bad as I felt after the whole thing with the goblin babies, but there was something inherently distasteful about using Donut's charm ability to kill things. Yes, these were monsters that wouldn't hesitate about killing us, but, like with the goblins, once Donut turned them neutral, we saw a part of their personalities one didn't normally see with monsters. We were going to move down to the 3rd floor. Jesus. Her voice had been filled with such longing, such despair. I remember what Mordecai had said, that the mobs in deeper levels weren't going to be as sympathetic. I really hoped so. I needed to remember who the real enemies were. The Syndicate, Borant, the Kuatan. I felt bad about killing monsters who were nothing more than pawns, but the fact was we needed to get as strong as we could. It was us or them. You're not going to break me, I whispered. It'd become a mantra. What? Donut asked. Nothing, I said. We walked into the large room. I went to work grabbing all the empty and full jugs I could. I grabbed another 2 tables, including one called an alchemy workstation. By the time we were done, we had 80 empty jugs and another 60 full ones. I decided against filling the empty jugs with the moonshine from the tub. The metal container was bolted to the ground, so I couldn't take the whole thing, and I feared just touching the liquid would have some sort of nasty effect, like blinding me, or worse. The liquid continued to drip in from the next room over. The door to the boss's chamber looked like the entrance of some sort of community center. It had Live, Laugh, Love written on the top of the door in little cut-out wooden letters. Under that was a schedule of events. The next event scheduled was for noon on the day after the collapse. It read, Good news, everyone. Little Brenolin has the chicken pox. Potluck's pox party here at noon. No peanuts. Let's get that immunity. I think we should probably just leave this boss alone, I said. There might be more kids in there, and if there's a moonshine still, it'll probably blow up just as easy as that goblin engine. We only have 1 hobgoblin detonator left, and I don't want to waste it, if we don't have to. If we just toss dynamite or a boom jar in there, we might not get away in time. I bet the explosion will be big. It's not worth it to just go in there and fight face to face. Not when we don't have a real defense against the taint debuff. We don't know how many of those things there will be. I was afraid Donut was going to protest, but she didn't. We moved to the corner of the room. I pulled the Rev Up Smoothies invigorating banner off the wall. It was made of a cotton-like cloth. I put it in my inventory as I moved to investigate the 2 stationary bicycles. A pulley ran from the tire to a small flat platform welded into the front of the bike. A little black segmented wheel, no bigger than a $50 coin, sat in the middle of the platform. Weird. I noticed a pair of dust-covered wooden boxes tucked away in the corner. I picked one up and the top slid off. I examined the contents. It was filled with empty, clinking glass containers with screw-on lids. The box held 12 of them. Almost shoved into the box was another similar black liquid with little blades on it. I examined the little lid using the tooltips. Oh, I said. I see. It's a blender. A bicycle-powered blender. It looks like it hasn't been used at all. I pulled one of the glass tubes out and unscrewed the cover. I could screw the bladed cover onto the glass and pop the whole thing onto the platform. If I turned the pedals on the small bike, it'd turn the blades. supposedly blending whatever was in the glass. Then I could flip it over, remove the bladed cover, and replace it with the original top, leaving me with a glass bottle of whatever I decided to blend. Like a smoothie. We had something similar, though not bicycle-powered, in our apartment. I peeked in the second box, and this one held held 6 glasses instead of 12. The bladed part of the blender was missing. A sheet of paper sat in the box, and I pulled it free. Rev up immunity smoothie recipe. Holy crap, I said. The recipe only required 2 items. No wonder they discounted this. Gross. What? What? Donut asked. This is all game setup, I said as I started putting all the items into my inventory. One of the bikes was bolted to the ground, but the second wasn't. I picked it up and pulled it in. You're supposed to find this and make the recipe. If you make the smoothie, you'll have immunity from the taint debuff and something called the vigorous measles. And then you'll have the proper protection to fight the boss. I swallowed. It's really gross, though. I don't want to go in there. I think we should just take these... I never finished the sentence. The door to the boss room blasted open. A pair of pink tentacles, each at least 15 feet long, reached out, swaying into the room. A terrible, ear-splitting screech filled the air, followed by a second screech, then a third, and a fourth. Each octopus tentacle was covered with mouths, dozens of them. Each mouth was wide, big around as a frisbee. Oh my gosh. But human-shaped, with bright red human lips. There were no eyes or other facial features, just a cacophony of screaming voices saying nothing, just screaming. Familiar music started to play, barely discernible under the constant shrieks. At the far end of the chamber where we'd walked in, bars dropped down, locking up the room. What the hell, I cried, back against the wall. This isn't a boss chamber. A new achievement appeared, and it announced itself before I could wave it into the folder. New achievement. Wait, bosses can leave their rooms? Welcome to the 2nd floor, bitches. Reward. This shit plays great on the recap episode. If you scream loud enough, maybe you'll make the show. And that was the end of episode 33, or not episode, what the fuck, of chapter 33. Yes, so they pretty much just bombed everyone again. That's like their go-to, they just bomb everyone. Or like set them on fire and all that jazz. Which I just love that for them, it's just great. Let me get that set up there. Take a sip of my water. I always forget that my throat always gets so dry when I read. And it also doesn't help that, like, I've been, like, well, like, my sinuses are just dripping, so I constantly just sound super phlegmy and gross. Why fight when you can just blow them up? Literally. They're very smart. Because instead of fighting, they just usually roll the bombs into the area and then just blow. Honestly, they'll, like, I do that in a lot of games. If like, the game lets me, because sometimes games, you know, set up that barrier where you have to enter the area first before you can kill whatever's there. But I do it a lot in Alice Madness Returns, if you notice, where I'll, like, sit somewhere safe and then just kill things from afar. And then I'll jump down into the area and either, like, finish off the other enemies or, like, I'm just good to go because I killed them all from afar. But it's, like, my go-to strategy, so I don't have to, like, go down and, like, fight fist to fist, you know? But yes. Ooh. Alright. Chapter 34. I wonder who is the most unlucky person in this game. Like, they keep surviving, but just barely. You know... No, you know what? You're just gonna have to find out. You're just gonna have to find out. Chapter 34. Krakarin Clone. Level 10 Neighborhood Boss. First off, this isn't the Krakarin. This is a Krakarin. For every one that is killed, Krakarin Prime births 2 more. Part of a collective mind intent upon destroying any semblance of scientific process in the universe, the Krakarin is the only communal brain entity in the galaxy who actually gets stupider as time moves on. Consisting of multiple shrieking tentacles, members of the Krakarin Cooperative spend their days birthing their disease-laden minions, creating and selling harmful products, attempting to debate scientific experts, and, what is that fucking word? Proselytizing to the weak-minded, all in an attempt to, well, nobody knows what the hell their goal is. Even Eris, goddess of chaos, doesn't want anything to do with these crazy assholes.
The moment the description ended, a portion of wall above the door broke open, and a third tentacle burst into the room from the next chamber over, swinging blindly about. Carl, what are we going to do? Donut cried, pushing herself into the corner. It's huge. The first two tentacles retracted, and a pair of Cluritron consultants came out of the door, looking wildly about. Shit, I said, keep them away. I need to make a goddamn smoothie. What about the tentacles? Donut cried. I eyed the tentacle sweeping about the ceiling of the room. It kept smashing into the pipe that led to the tube of moonshine. Don't attack the boss yet. I don't think it can see. Focus on these guys. I pulled a glass of smoothie containers into my right hand. Into my right hand. I pulled a jug of unaltered moonshine from my inventory into my left. Donut leaped onto my shoulder and shot a pair of magic missiles, nailing both of the Cluritrons, who dropped dead at the doorway. A third hesitantly peeked out, looking for us. Donut got him right in the head, and he also collapsed. I pulled the cork with my teeth, and I filled the smoothie container to a third of the way with the moonshine. Thankfully, it had a little line on the glass. I didn't know how exact this had to be. Directly above us, the cinder block wall broke apart, showering us with rock. A tentacle burst forth, screaming. It scrabbled, swinging at nothing, swaying just feet over our heads. Above, the mouth dripped with goo. I jumped out of the way as snot splashed near me. Moonshine sloshed out of the glass, and I had to pour a little more in. Jesus fuck. I tossed the jug toward the entrance, and it shattered, splashing moonshine. A moment later, another tentacle once again burst from the door hole, sending the 3 dead Churchins flying. I pulled the corpse of the Laminac from my inventory. I held the limp, naked, wingless body in my hand. It was still warm. Her little dead eyes stared up in her final shock at having been snatched out of the air by Donut. The sensation was odd, like holding an anatomically correct doll of a pudgy middle-aged woman. I didn't have time to think about it. I shoved her, head first, into the glass container. Her shoulders were a little too wide to fit, so I had to push. The shoulders cracked, and I used my finger to ram her all the way in there, like trying to stuff a Cornish game hen into a thermos. I produced the blender top with the blades, and I had to push hard to get it to screw into place. Carl, what in God's name are you doing? It's the recipe, I cried. I screwed the container onto the blender platform. It attached with a click. I sat atop the much too small bicycle, my knees as high as my chest. I prayed the bike wouldn't break. I prayed my spiked knee pads wouldn't activate, impaling my own chin. I recited the recipe out loud. You fill a third of the glass container with moonshine. Add 1 corpse of a Laminac fairy. Blend until pink. Drink warm or chilled. Each smoothie contains 10 doses. If you think I'm going to drink that... Across the room, yet another tentacle appeared. This one on the ground. The next tentacle to break through would be right here. I spun my legs. The bike protested at first, but I quickly gained steam, spinning like a regular blender. Within the little glass container, the dead fairy stared back at me, spinning until she was sucked away. The concoction first green, then red, and then pink. After a moment, it started to sparkle. I pulled the glass bottle off the top just as another 2 Cluritrons entered the chamber, squeezing past the single tentacle that still reached about the room. The tentacle wrapped around the metallic tub and squeezed. It crumpled it like a beer can. Above, a glob of snot fell, splashing off my head and oozing onto my face. You have been inflicted with the taint. Damn it! I really need to start sticking my hood up. Run, I said, toward the back of the room. Behind us, the wall exploded, sending the lone bike flying. It shattered into pieces when it hit the floor. As I ran, I examined the smoothie in my hand. Rev Up Immunity Smoothie. 1 part moonshine, 1 part fairy. This smoothie offers 10 doses for the price of 1. Each sip of this delicious concoction imbues the following effects. Temporary immunity to all health-seeping conditions and debuffs. Temporary protection against all communicable diseases. Inflicts the buzzed buff. Jesus. Plus 3 charisma, minus 1 dexterity, plus shaky cam debuff, plus truth serum debuff. I didn't have time to think about it. I took a sip. It tasted as if I had drinking it directly from the diseased asshole of an incontinent skunk. It took all of my strength not to vomit. Stick it in your hot list and drink, I cried, shoving it at Donut, as we reached the end of the room. It disappeared from my hand. She didn't argue. She glowed as the potion took hold. A pair of icons flashed, indicating my immunity. The taint debuff didn't go away, however, which meant I couldn't heal myself. But at least now I couldn't be inflicted with death measles, or whatever it was called. Death measles, I heard myself say as I ran. Now that's funny. It wasn't funny. I laughed again. What the hell is wrong with... Ow! I cried as a rock bounced off my head. My health flashed, my bar moving farther down than it should have. I'd been hit with a damn slingshot, and the damage was enhanced because of my stupid goblin tattoo. I was woozy, and I realized it was the buzz debuff. Whoa. I had to consciously keep myself from falling over. If this was buzzed, I'd hate to see what it was, I'd hate to see what the shit-face debuff felt like. Oh my gosh, I literally cannot read. Jesus. I pulled an angled, still intact section of the redoubt from my inventory, putting the shield up as we reached the back corner of the room. 5 tentacles smashed about, and a pair of Chlorochins rushed at us, both of them shooting rocks that pinged off the steel table. What's your mana? I asked. 16, Donut cried, her voice slurred. She popped up and fired a missile at a Chlorochin. She hit him in the shoulder, but he still went down. Now 12. Die, motherfucker, die! I barely had time to parse that Donut was also drunk as a screaming tentacle smashed against the table, rocketing us both against the back wall. My health, already in the red, moved farther down. The monster didn't seem to realize what had hit. I watched as it grasped on the last standing Chlorochin, wrapping around him. The mouths stopped screaming, all revealing long, sharp teeth as they pulled the shrieking monster back into the boss room, chewing it. It returned a moment later, blood dripping from the mouths, which resumed their caterwaul. 4 more Chlorochins rushed into the room. Another tentacle emerged, pushing through yet another hole in the wall. This tentacle was different. Instead of mouths, it was covered in hundreds of tiny little orifices. The longer, thinner arms reached into the room and made a pss-pss noise, like a spray bottle. A fine green mist filled the chamber. You've been infected with the vigorous measles. Infection negated due to immunity. Don't fire any more missiles, I said. My head swam. If we die, I want you to know that I love you, Carl, Donut said. I don't love you as much as I love Miss Beatrice because she's my person. Or as much as I love Ferdinand. But I love you. Focus, Donut, I said. I tried not to let what she'd said sting, but it did. Who the fuck was Ferdinand anyway? Bea was giving you up, Donut. She was giving you up, trading you for a younger model. But I didn't say it. Not out loud. Now was not the time for the conversation. Never was the time for that conversation. Not anymore. But especially not now. Not when Bea was fucking dead. See that Chlorochin there? I said, pointing a shaking hand. Raise him from the dead. 2 of the Chlorochins running at us cried out, as they were picked up and crushed by their own boss. I leaped up, stumbling away, as yet another tentacle reached for me. I ducked, and it sailed past. I was suddenly on the ground when I ducked. I just kept going down. I pulled myself up and kept running. I formed a fist, and I rushed at the 2 remaining monsters. I kicked one, who went flying, and then... Oh, Jesus. Let me take a sip of water. And then I drunkenly swung at another, connecting with his giant head with the right hook. I pulled back, an ear attached to my spike. I dropped it to the ground as a tentacle swooped over my head. Ahead of me, a Chlorochin zombie rose up, groaning. Tell him to hold this over his head and run into the boss chamber, I cried. I pulled a boom jug from my inventory as the zombie stood there, swaying, looking at me. For good measure, I pulled the most stable stick of dynamite I had and shoved it down his overalls. Probably a bad idea, I thought right after I did it. Oh well. The zombie grabbed the jug on Donut's instruction and held it over his head. Like that guy holding the boombox in that Say Anything movie. I lit the torch and sent him on his way. He turned toward the doorway, which was currently empty, and he ran. He barely missed being swept away by another tentacle, and he reached the door just as the 7th tentacle broke through the wall and 5 more Chlorochins appeared, who all stared, unmoving, as the zombie rushing right at them. They moved out of the way, uncomprehending of what was happening. I turned in the opposite direction and ran toward our small shield. I dove behind it, barely dodging another tentacle that swooped right over my head. As I jumped behind the metal shield, Donut yelled, "I thought you said the explosion was going to be too big to use it in here." I looked at my health, already perilously low. Donut didn't have a scratch on her. I pulled the alchemy table out of my inventory, putting it directly over us, placing us within a clamshell. I felt as if I was going to vomit. My head continued to swim. "It probably is," I said, "and I'm probably about to die, but I think you'll be okay." "Carl, no," Donut said. "No!" "It's okay," I said. "Go back to Brandon. They'll watch over you." I wrapped myself around the cat. "I don't want to do this without you," Donut cried. "Carl, I lied before. I won't be fine on my own. I need you. No, no!" I couldn't answer her before the explosion came. And that was the end of chapter 34. Yes. So, they fought the boss, which they weren't planning to do. And they got dubiously drunk from the potion, or from the smoothie, the immunity smoothie. So they're very drunk. And Carl's like, "Oh, well, fuck this shit. None of us are going to make it out alive, so we're just going to bomb the whole place," which is just Carl's go-to at this point. So, yes. Donut is a softie. We love Donut here. We love Donut here. However, I'm going to end the stream like 30 minutes early just because, one, my eyes are like burning. Two, I'm getting like so stuffed up, so I like literally can't read. They became Tiny Tina. Yeah. But yes, I'm going to be ending the stream just 30 minutes early today. But I do believe that I will be streaming tomorrow morning, as well as the usual afternoon or the usual later night stream. So I'm going to try doing Alice Madness Returns tomorrow morning. The stream is really laggy as well, yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. I was watching my frame rate kind of a little bit, and it's been going up and down. Because I think, like, with them getting, like, the electricity back up, like, the internet's being real weird. But yeah, so tomorrow I should be doing, yeah, the good part. I know. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to wait, like, a whole more week to find out if Carl lives or not. Can't wait to see you tomorrow then. It'll be fun. Yes. So Alice Madness returns tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow afternoon it'll be The Last of Us. I'm not gonna make any promises that that's gonna be like the official schedule for tomorrow because it depends on how busy my work is in the morning tomorrow. But we'll see. We will see. So anyway, let me go find someone to raid real quick. I also just can't talk today. My like R's and W's keep getting mixed up. You're a big doo-doo head. I'm so sorry, Lemus. I'm so sorry. Hold on, give me a minute. I'm so sorry I'm a big doo-doo head to you. I'm so sorry. You're just gonna have to suffer, I suppose. Alright, let's see. Who are we going to raid today? Alright, I know who we are going to raid today. Let me get our raid set up. Okay, perfect. But yes, hopefully I will catch you guys tomorrow. If not, that's okay. I will catch you in the next one. But have a good night, day, whatever it may be for you travelers. And bye-bye.